So if we weren't related, would you like me as a human being?
Listen, I love all God's creatures, even the ones that irritate me like you, but...
Oh, we're going there?
Yeah, we're going to go there. But, I mean, as a human being, you're awesome. I mean, I can't even, like, mother effer, you're awesome. Like, so, yeah, I think I still click with you. Would you like me as a human being?
I would have messed with you at all.
Smart answer. Smart answer.
Dysh. 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 Dysh.
Hey, y'all. It's Onika.
And J.R.?
And you are dishing with Dainty Dish. How you doing, J.R.?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. What's going on in the world of J.R.?
I'm just finishing up my improv class at Second City. You know,
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm just finishing that up now. It's been a good time. Yeah, I finished another book. You know me. I've got back to reading. I haven't been reading for a little while.
I know you got out of it for a bit.
Yeah, I read the Power of Habit: Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg. Was a good one. Good one about habits, you know, because I have some bad habits that I had to break and I've been trying to break, and you know, just learning how I can apply that to my life and in business. You know, it's just you know me being a dork.
Well, it's all good.
Yeah, it's June, so what's
It's
going on with you?
Let's see. It's been about 1 month now since I got rid of Oliver. I don't regret it.
You don't regret it at all?
I don't regret it. I sleep better at night. You know, I don't have another mouth to feed. Like I'm an inherently selfish person. Like when I came home and that cat was just like on my butt, like I just was like, just go away. And I'm sorry that I have to say it this way. Maybe I'm not an animal person. Who knows? I might try a dog next time, but hopefully I'll have a house. I tried a goldfish, didn't work. I tried a cat, didn't work. Lasted 2 weeks, but you know, I hear from my friend he's doing okay though.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
He's getting acclimated to his new surroundings.
That's fantastic.
And his new cat friend. I think he's been humping her. I think.
Okay, forget it. I'm done. I'm moving on. Today we have a guest because it's the second Wednesday of the month,
and it is all kinds of crazy. And we do have a guest, Michael. Say hello to everyone.
How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you coming on.
Not a problem. I love what you guys are doing with the podcast. It's great. It's really great.
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
So
how have you been?
I've been good. Can't complain. Just been, working hard, doing me. Been on that routine life, right? Working, going to the gym, trying to stay active.
Ooh.
I'm on a self-improvement wave, so that's what I've been doing.
All right.
Yeah.
I love being on that self-improvement wave.
That's the only way to be.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
You gotta keep growing. You gotta keep improving.
Expanding.
Absolutely.
Yeah, always. Never stop.
Absolutely.
Expanding like my waistline, just expanding.
See, you told me I couldn't make fun of your weight, and now you're always setting me up.
No, but I'm self-deprecating. That's okay. It's okay to be self-deprecating.
Okay. Because you specifically told me that it's off limits, and I was like, okay.
Whatever. I love myself at every size.
Hey, love yourself. You know, I don't know what Beyonce would say. I don't know what word we can throw in here, what slogan or what lyric we can throw in, but one of those ones.
one of those empowering ones, like learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. Whitney Houston. Yes, we'll drop a Whitney.
Deep.
We'll drop a Whitney.
That's
deep.
Cool. That's cool.
We'll drop a Whitney.
So, what are we doing here today? What's going on?
We are going to talk to Michael about his experience with mental health, but I wanted to start off with a question. We do this like fun little thing at the beginning just to loosen everybody up. You know, ask them a question from one of our 21 questions episode, our very first inaugural episode. If you haven't listened to it, listen to it. But the question we decided to ask today was, if you didn't have to sleep, what would you do with your spare time?
If I didn't have to sleep, what would I do with my spare time? I'd probably do more of what I'm doing right now. Do more of my daily routine. Try to get as much work in trying to, really, again, just doing a lot more than what I'm doing right now and getting a lot more done and using a lot more of my time. I try not to even sleep too much. Like, I mean, I get a good amount of sleep. I do get a good amount of sleep, but I try not to like sleep in, because I find when I wake up earlier in the day, I get a lot more done. You have a lot more time to do what you need to get done. And if you have goals and tasks during the day, you find that you actually get it done from waking up at 8 o'clock as opposed to waking up at 11. Or, I mean, because if you think about it, that's a lot of time. 3 hours or 2 hours that you can use.
Yeah, I'm an 11 o'clock wake upper. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well,
I enjoy sleep.
You enjoy sleep? Okay.
I'm just sitting here, just like, you know what? Finally, someone is sitting here that's saying the same thing that I've been saying to you all
yes, I know. JR tells me all the time. You're like, I wake up at 5 a.m. Get stuff done. I'm like, no.
Like, by the time you wake up, I've already completed pretty much my whole day.
Right.
It's
and then you're already on to the next day or the next week, and you're ahead of the game.
Well, I'm gonna say,
I wish I'd gotten it when I was a little bit younger, though. Like, 'cause I didn't get on it till now. I would say.
Right.
In your 30s.
Yeah. Had I been on that in my 20s, whew,
You would have been in a different ball game.
Really?
Yeah. So I mean, shout outs. Yeah.
Appreciate that. I mean, that's why it's like, that's why I'm doing it now. You know, I'm taking advantage of that extra
compound
time,
interest.
that compound self-development. Right.
Okay, so I guess just from my understanding now, you don't specifically, Michael, suffer from a mental health issue. We're talking today because something that we've wanted to do in this podcast is kind of, have a mix of people that have lived experience with a mix of people that have experience through family members. So I'm one of the people that have experience through a family member with Onika.
Yep.
And we've had a couple experts on. We've had a nurse. We've had a doctor, educational doctor on.
Mm-hmm.
So now we kind of want to have someone who's has some lived experience, but not with the disease, but kind of
with everything that goes along with it. So I guess Onika felt that you make a great fit for this type of conversation. So
right.
Let's have the conversation.
Right. I guess let's just have the conversation. So first and foremost, we want to ask you, what really made you decide to come on the podcast?
Well, as you said, I don't really suffer from any mental illnesses or anything like that. I consider myself to be very mentally sane and have control over my emotions. But how I've gotten to this point in terms of not allowing myself to be stressed out or being positive and getting things done and being in the right state of mind is a certain process. And I feel like the reason why I'm here in this podcast today is just to let people know that these things are important and mental health is important, and it's something that needs to be talked about. And mental health awareness is how there's a whole stigma around mental health, and people don't really know about it, or they shy away from it or act like it's not there. But being somebody who's surrounded by a family member who's dealing with mental health issues, it's very much there. It's very much an issue that needs to be addressed, and not something that sort of needs to be, I would say, like hidden or not talked about. I feel like the reason why I'm here is that the more we talk about mental health and the more we talk about our own experiences with mental health and how we keep ourselves mentally sane, it would help not only for ourselves but for people who are dealing with mental health issues, because they would not feel alone. They would feel like there's somebody around who supports them and understands them. And people who are suffering from mental illnesses would, instead of going through a downward spiral path, would eventually start to have the positive mindset just by knowing that they're not in it by themselves.
Just that support system that's around.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Right.
Okay.
Right.
So Do you want to share a little bit about, I guess, your family, and what it's like? You mentioned that, you know, there's you have a family member that suffers from mental illness.
Yeah.
Do you want to share a bit about that? What was it like? I guess. Can I say what it's like growing up? Would that be fair to say? Is that a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's go there.
It's been for me. I would say it was very confusing at first. Just because, again, it's sort of to me, it was very new. I had no idea what was going on. Mm-hmm. So when I started to realize that a family member of mine was dealing with mental health issues, I'm thinking that it's not that serious. I'm thinking that what's really happening, just very confused, that not really knowing what's really going on. And I grew up in a household where we like to keep everything secretive and to not talk about it. And me being in the youngest in my family, or just the youngest out of, whether it's my immediate family or my outside family, one of the younger siblings, we would be the last to know about whatever is going on. So I just didn't really know what was going on until it was actually happening in front of me. And then I had to do my own research about it. I had to figure out what's going on and go on the internet and search about this and figure out why certain things are happening. And that's the reason, that's kind of how I started to give myself more education on mental health after seeing what my family member was going through when it was actually happening. I didn't know that there was a process to leading towards that. It was kind of just it just kind of happened, and I was like one of the last people to know about it.
Now, do you remember seeing a specific change in the person, like maybe them not, maybe if you were really close and all of a sudden now you weren't that close, or maybe there was just maybe a mood shift? Was there something that maybe looking back now you would say, oh, that change, that's something that I saw, and maybe letting people know, hey, if you kind of see these changes in someone that you really love and care about, you know, just ask them if they're all right, you know, and just...
Absolutely, that's a good question. Now that I think about it, and now that I look back, there was certain things that this person was doing that probably, I don't really know what specifically triggered it, but there were certain things that this person was doing in terms of keeping things to themselves. Okay. Not talking, because, or not just again, just being very secretive. And this is, now that I think back at it, this is how this person really was, right? And it was very, to me, I was just thinking that it's normal. It's the person's personality. You just growing up, you think, and especially like, again, being like one of the younger siblings or one of the younger family members, that it's just a person's personality. You just think, okay, it's whatever. You've got your own things that you need to deal with as a kid growing up.
Absolutely.
You know, trying to get good grades, trying to stay out of trouble, trying to stay in and get to school, trying to get the girl. To be honest with you, trying to get the newest video games, trying to, like, I was not really thinking about, like, in my mind back then, it was not something that I was thinking about, because again, you don't really know if there's something wrong or if there's anything going on. Right? So you just kind of live your life.
I remember with Onika, I was just thinking about girls. It was just, I was just at that age where it was just like, I'm not really concerned with you right now. Right. I've got things to do.
You got things to do.
I find sometimes it amplifies your personality, so it is very challenging. It amplifies whatever is already in you, so it's very challenging to see that there is a problem.
Right.
So Michael, you mentioned that I guess the mental health things for you started with research on the internet. Your own research. Now, was your family member open with their diagnosis, and did it kind of match with what you were researching, or were you kind of a little behind the curve, or like how did that information kind of connect?
Well, the person told me what they had.
Okay.
And then that's when I started to do my research more about it and figure out why, if the person is acting out, why? What's really going on? How do you deal with this? How do you get better? How does it get to that point? And these were the things that I tried to sort of educate myself with and try to be more aware of, because if I want to be able to help or be of some sort of assistance as a family member, this is what I was going to need to do, and not just act like there's nothing wrong or that it's going to get better by itself.
That's something that in the Black community we constantly see.
Right.
Oh, it's gonna get better by itself if
you pray the cray away. You know that's my favorite saying.
But you're absolutely right about that. You're absolutely right about that. Not to say that prayer and having
isn't
strong
powerful.
faith doesn't work.
I'm not saying that, Mom.
It is. No, it is very powerful. But what I want to let people know is that to be mentally strong, there's that, and then there's actively doing things to keep yourself mentally strong as well, like having the right positive people around you. And all of these different things that I'm sure we'll get to in a bit. But you're definitely right. Strong faith is good, but there's also levels. There's also other things that you can do to stay mentally and physically strong and stable as well.
Well, since you touched on the positive people around you, I love that whole thing about having, surrounding yourself with positive people. And, as of late, I know that I've surrounded myself with positive people to help me in my mental health, just as a non mental illness patient, but just to keep myself in good spirits.
That's right.
And I know, Onika, you've done the same. I mean, I know you've cut people out of your life. You've told me just because this person, no, I can't be around this person because they're not here to help
in their
me.
Illness, or they're too far gone at that point. I'm not saying there's not hope, but you have to have that positive presence in your life in order for your mental health to not suffer. And I think seeing me take care of myself has helped my family. I think you too take care of yourself in a different, and with your own mental health.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I went to therapy because of you. That's it. There's no question.
Look at that.
There was I was going through my emotions, and you were just like, dude, you need to go to therapy. And I was just in my emotions, and she's like, dude, you need to go to therapy.
You see what talking about mental illness does, though? You don't suffer from a mental illness. You just needed to go to, because you needed to talk.
Just needed to talk, yeah.
Right? But right now in society, people think, oh, you're going to therapy? Oh, you got problems. Oh, you're different. Oh, there's something wrong with you. But literally, everybody needs some kind of therapy, whether it's from a therapist, or whether it's from your best friend, or whether it's from your sister, or whether it's from your brother, or whether it's from anybody. But people need to talk about whatever they're going through, or rant, or vent, or get advice.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about therapy is when you rant, it's done.
They just let you go and go.
There's no.
What do you mean they let you go?
You literally just get to sit there, and they will ask probing questions and just let you rant. This is my experiences. I don't have. Yeah. I'm not having was it
cognitive behavioral therapy
I'm
me.
I'm not on that.
I get homework.
Okay, what's cognitive? What's the difference between cognitive behavioral therapy and regular therapy?
So I guess in cognitive behavioral therapy, I'm just gonna guess at this going. This
way. Go ahead.
You're trying to use.
You're trying to use your mind to change your mood, basically. So you're trying to use build a certain skill set through, and it was through various things. Like I said, I had homework most of the time. So you're trying to build a certain skill set to combat when your mood isn't well. So I know now, in the last year, I haven't had a depressive episode, according to my therapist, because she does logs and quizzes and questionnaires. And I know now when I have a bad 2 or 3 days and my mood is low, I know what to do to pick myself back up out of it without necessarily having to run to my social worker or my therapist or my psychiatrist to change my meds. So cognitive behavioral therapy is the therapy that I think most people with mental health illnesses need, but it's not always accessible. And that's the problem.
Developing good habits.
Yeah, you learn to develop good positive habits to help you kind of heal your own mental health issue that's happening in the moment. If I was to have a manic episode, I'd need hospitalization, but these little spurts that my mood, because my mood is kind of like a wave, it helps me deal with the wave.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the difference.
Whereas
Okay, awesome.
the regular therapy for me was just being able to talk to someone and accept the things that I have no control over.
Right.
And really just, I guess I realized that in therapy that I am already very self-aware, but just, I guess, growing that self-awareness.
Right.
And, understanding, okay, this is what's happened. This is where I am. This was my role in this. I have to accept this. Okay. And now let's pick myself up and keep it moving.
Right.
And that just, it's just a matter of talking that through.
Right.
Like sometimes you might talk to yourself.
Right.
But sometimes when you're talking to yourself, you avoid asking yourself that one or two questions that's really gonna like open the floodgate to resolve your problems. Whereas when you're in therapy, this person has no, they're
unbiased.
They have an unbiased interest in you. So they're gonna look at your situation and say, okay, what about this? And as soon as you answer that question out loud, sometimes there's like a bell that goes off in your head and you're like, ding.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
that makes sense.
That makes sense.
So
for me, that's what I've gotten from it.
Right. And I love that you mentioned that you talked about the things that you can't control. I mean, my mentor told me something that I like to share. He said, when you're focused on your life and just improving your life and working and getting things done and reaching your goals, and things happen, just focus on the things that you can control, and the things that you can't control, just that's when you need to focus on your faith and have strong faith in God or whoever you believe in. Just have strong faith that you'll be okay and that things are going to work in your favor. But the only thing you can do is focus on the things you can't control. But to be sort of in self-pity and upset or complain about things that you can't control, that's the sort of things that would keep you mentally drained. When it's like it doesn't have to be.
I call that being in your illness. That's that's the term I use for it. Not the physical illness where you're acting out, but being in your illness in the sense that perhaps you are depressed or you're feeling low and you just kind of wallow in it and you ruminate over it and you don't take action like you were talking about, Michael, to make a change. You just continue to lay in bed and you continue to not go outside and you continue to not live your life and you're just kind of deeply in your illness.
Right.
So that often happens to people, and that's some really great advice that you're giving.
Right.
I know in our situation, you being in your illness took its toll on your family members. I know I can speak up for myself. I know I don't speak on your mother or your sister, your father's behalf.
No.
But I know I've seen the toll it's taken on them. Like I've seen it. Like I've seen the physical toll it's taken on them. What kind of toll has your family members' illness taken on you? I know you said you're one of the younger ones, members of your family. What about like some of the older people in your family? What kind of toll has it? Have you seen it taken on them?
It's taken more of a toll on them, just because again, mental illness is just now coming into the forefront, and people are starting to be more self-aware of what's going on. But for my older family members to them it's totally new to it, and they don't know how to react. So it's kind of been very stressful. Where in a sense where they want to do their piece to help, but they don't know how to help, and they just don't know what to do, right? And it's kind of scary where you're in a situation where you want to help this person and you don't know what to do to help, but it seems like the person, maybe if they don't get the help that they need, they'll go through a downward spiral path, and there's nothing that you can do. So it's been the most tough for my older family members, because some of them are not tech savvy to do go online and do research.
Yeah.
And they kind of rely on us younger millennials to do the research and tell them that what's going on. But even me, I don't know everything that I need to know about what's going on either.
Because you're not a doctor. So
I'm not a doctor. This is not, you know what I mean? I'm just learning just like everybody else. But that's the idea. They meant their approach to it is, I'm going to pray the cray away, and I'm going to that's what I'm going to do, but that's what I'm going to keep doing. But I feel like that's great. But if someone's going through a downward spiral path and they need that kind of tough love to get them back on their feet, enabling them, I don't know if that would help. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's really what's been going on. The person's kind of been enabled and kind of sort of said, okay, no worries, but then there's no progress, right? So going through that transition and to say, this is what we need to do to help this person, it's kind of been stagnant. We don't they don't really know the next steps to take. So it's been the most hard for them. I know, I would say smart. We don't have all the answers, but at least we know what kind of have an idea of how this person is going to be able to get better or get out of their or slump. Or what did you mention? Sitting in your own side. What'd you say?
Living in your illness.
Living in your illness and kind of just not doing anything. How to get to that point where you were, where you kind of broke out of that and got motivation and dealt with it head on. I'm sure you can tell me, Onika, that you weren't enabled at any point. It was kind of like a tough love or a real life
my God.
situation.
Was I ever enabled? My whole family, I've got a big family. JR's like 1/80th of my family sitting here right now.
Really?
And between for my immediate family, I was enabled. For my extended family, it was more of a let's keep this on the low. We don't talk about Onika's situation, right?
But why not?
I think it's a West Indian, it's a cultural thing. It could be very cultural.
Thing.
It's a black thing. Yeah, let's put it out there. Let's throw it right out there because Michael is black, just FYI. And it's a black thing. My family was very hush hush about it. My immediate family was very hush hush, and my parents enabled me for 7 years or 8 years before my mom finally I had a really bad episode, and it was just a really messed up situation, right, and my mom kicked me out of the house. Right,
and by them, okay, so for those 7 years that you were being enabled, did it help you?
No, oh God, no. I'm far better now living, I live in Toronto, I live in my own apartment, I do my own thing. They live in the Durham region, I see them once every 2 months. I'm not reliant on them for anything anymore. Therefore, there's not that enabling dynamic where it's oh, Onika's in trouble, I run to mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
And they get me out of trouble.
Right.
There's not that dynamic between us anymore. Me and my mom have forged more of a loving adult friendship where I do talk to her every day, but it's never here's all of my problems, mom, and I need you to solve all of my problems for me.
Right.
So you have to get to that point, and your family member too would have to get to that point where that enabling relationship is broken, and you feel like a fish out of water, and you feel like you don't know what you're going to do, but with the right medical team, with the right support system, you learn those tricks and tips about how to combat depression and how to help your anxiety. For me, how to stave my bipolar, my mania from coming back. I learned those things because there are resources, there are things out there and programs that are out there that can help.
Now, sorry to interrupt you. You mentioned that there's programs out there for that can help. Now, the person suffering from the mental illness would have to actively go and get these programs, right? Or
that's
they would.
The saddest part. That's
Yeah.
the saddest part. It's hard because there is still a huge stigma around mental health. Sure, there's more every day. People are recognizing mental health is a real issue, is a real condition, is a real disease. They still don't necessarily provide people with things like therapists readily for free. You know, my therapy is free right now. I work with a team and everything is covered for me by OHIP. But if you're not willing to search and look and fight and advocate for yourself, or have, you know, your 1 or 2 family members standing there with you, advocating right along with you, unfortunately, you just don't get anywhere. And that's the sad part about it.
So do you feel like somebody suffering from mental illness would have to face that point where they would need to actively go out and face their, I would say, kind of face their fears or face their sort of get out of their sadness or get out of their own emotion or their slump and get the help that they need?
I think mental health, because mental health and addiction often go together. And I think one of the reasons they kind of go hand in hand is because eventually you get fed up with yourself. At least that's been my experience.
Can I just throw
something in there, JR?
From my vantage point, it seemed to be more on the lines of when Onika got her diagnosis, and at the point when she made it known to her family, she was her diagnosis.
Yes.
Yes. And that almost that put a bad taste in my mouth all the time.
Yes.
But it wasn't until she accepted her illness and said, "I am not my illness," was when I started to see things starting to change, where I'm not my illness, but you know what, I have this illness and I got to put myself in a position where I can be the best person that I can. And that means I got to have a team. Okay, well, you know what? I am now in a situation where I'm in an episode, and there's no family now. Like, you're coming out of this episode. This is from my vantage.
Yeah.
It seems like you came out of this episode and now there was no family there.
There's nobody.
Because I mean, I was off in Florida.
Yeah, you were in Florida.
You know, cousin Kay, she was actually with me.
Yeah, there was no family.
Like, the whole support system, we were like, every person that was part of it was off doing their own thing.
But y'all were living your lives.
Living your lives. And at that moment, it ended up being like you were. I guess seemed like, wait, I'm not the center of the universe, and I think that kind of
because that's the thing. You're. It's not that. Actually, you were made to feel like the center of the universe, but not necessarily in a positive way. Not in a, like, you know what I mean, everybody loves me kind of way. No more of everybody's worried about me, everybody's disappointed in me, everybody's frustrated with me, everybody hates me. Like, in that more kind of self-centered way. I have to do things to make them, you know, be proud of me again, and you know, I have to push forward, I have to move on. Like, you get into a very selfish, self-centered mode. Wow, really? And then when you get and every negative thing that happens to you, or every failure you have, you blame it on your illness. That's what he's talking about when it's like, I was bipolar. I was the definition of I was bipolar, you know? But now I realize, no, I have an illness. I'm not my illness, which has opened me up and freed me to be able to do so many like positive things like this podcast, or the things I do with my writing. Like, it's freed me up to be the best person that I could be. There may be another manic episode on the horizon. There is likely to be another manic episode on the horizon. But I've learned through 2 years now going into of therapy, from having a team, from, you know, continuing to have my family support, that no matter how far I fall, I'm going to be able to pick myself back up again. Right. And when you haven't done that at least once, and I've done it 7 times. So if you haven't done that at least once, you don't know, you know, your family member might not know what they're capable of. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to encourage them. Yeah. Right. You have to encourage them and let them know you're there for them, and let them know, listen, you are capable of being a better person and living a better life. You are not your illness. You don't have to live in your illness. You can do better than this.
So trust me, every time I speak to this person, that's all that I say.
And just keep encouraging.
You know, but you also have to go make it fall, because, you know, you at one moment you chose the 9-to-5 career, and that 9-to-5 career, the stretches of that did not work for you, you in particular. So now you work a little bit less of a more glamorous job.
Retail. Let's call it what it is.
Call it
Retail.
Call it what it is.
Retail.
But you know
Hit
what?
it the wrong with retail.
It allows you to live the life that you.
Amen.
That allows you to be the least stressed. I mean, you're allowed to do your writing. You know, you're not bothering with it. You're still paying taxes. So
I'm still good. I still pay the tax man.
It's. I mean, you found what your personal niche is. I guess would that be?
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not. I don't know, because I know for me, I have high expectations of myself in my life, you know. But the life that I'm living right now is pretty fucking awesome. Like it's pretty awesome. So, you know, it's not a matter of getting the 9-to-5 corporate job for this person or getting. It's about letting them find what they're passionate about that keeps them going.
Right.
That keeps them as far away from their mental health condition as possible. So if this person loves cooking or painting or music,
Right.
you know, encouraging them to do the things that you can recall that they love to get them to the place where they need to be to like rise up out of that abyss.
Right. And I love that.
You know what I mean?
And I love that. And the fact that you mentioned that, you said that for somebody dealing with mental illness, they should get to that point where focus on their purpose and what they and what they're actually here to do in this life and what they love to do, like what their purpose is, right? I would also say that that's exactly what everybody should be focused. You know what I mean? That's exactly what everybody should be doing.
That's good. That's kind of like where I was going with, like, in my mind. I was thinking about a final question. I was like, what can you do for your own mental health? Like, what could you, Michael, recommend for us to do for our mental health? And you just kind of like just went there and answered it. That was kind of
well. That's really what I do. I have a daily routine. I wake up in the morning. I do like obviously I say my prayers. You know,
my mother would love you.
You know, what else do? I work out. If I can't go to the gym, I do a small workout in the condo, just like go downstairs, do like a 1-2 push-ups or like pull-ups or something, just to feel good. I meditate. Meditate's pretty cool. Yeah, I love meditating. Yes. That's something that I've gone on. And meditating is not on some, like, for those people who don't know about meditation, it's not something that you're just like on like a Buddhist wave or something where you got like 10, like you have to be sitting down cross legs. No, all it is literally you're sitting in a chair and you're just closing your eyes and you're focused on your breath, and that's all you're focused on. And the idea is to keep you focused on the present moment. So if there's a lot that's going on around you, you just sit back and you just focus on the present moment and not allow yourself to get too worked up. And I feel like doing that, also just being able to I love podcasts, so on my way to work I do that. I try to get in at least one podcast a day. I'm taking some few courses on the side of my job, so I do that. And just what else? Call up one of the homies or try to spend time with family and friends as much as I can. Yeah. And have good conversations, not talking about whatever, but talking about some good, like what's really going on, how's everything. Yeah. What are you up to?
Been some good. I've had some good conversations with you. I think.
Come on, man! Don't you remember? Pick six.
We had a great conversation the other day.
All we have is
every single conversation is a great one.
Now, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Julian. Imagine having those kind of conversations every single day, and what that would do alone for your mental health. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That's.
You just wake up in the morning and you just feel like, I gotta just be the best me.
That's kind of I'm kind of like, that's where I am right now as well. Like,
right.
I just kind of I kind of try and find and surround myself with people that I can have those types of conversations with, where it's like, we're just growing.
That's it. And that's like me being able to follow the kind of routine that I follow allowed me to be mentally strong to the point where whatever I'm dealing with, if it's like some stress at work, like closing deals or something.
Closing deals.
It doesn't. It's
doesn't
like
bother you.
No, not at all.
That's
to the
good.
point where like, because you focus on the bigger picture. There's a bigger picture out there, and the bigger picture is, what are you like? How do you actually feel? What are you doing to build yourself? And not, like you said, your mental illness is not you. But I would say for those people who don't have who aren't dealing with mental illnesses, your job is not you. Your career is not you. Like there's separate things, and you have, just like how you have to focus on your career for those people who are career driven or whatever. Have that time to focus on what you're doing, what you've got going on for yourself. Personal development, and then everything else will just follow, right? So you have strong faith, keeping the faith strong, being mentally sane, physically active. Oh, I forgot to mention watching what I eat. That's another thing. Oh, yeah. I kind of cut juices. Like I drink juice, but not really, actually. I kind of stick to water. Like I got my water, I got a lemon in there. I kind of stick to the water wave. I'm slowly trying to cut out, like I don't eat pork.
Oh, did that a while ago.
Yeah.
You guys did that
for dinner last night.
Oh, yeah, pizza. Oh,
yeah, right. Pizza. It was
vegetarian,
really
or it was actually?
No, it had a lot of meat on it.
Oh, it was a meat lover, eh? Oh, I remember.
Had a lot. It had double bacon, pepperoni, and mushrooms.
She said mushrooms. She said
it had a vegetable.
She said double bacon, not single bacon. It had a vegetable. It had a mushroom. Oh, all right.
Tomato sauce on that.
And tomato sauce. Yeah,
tomato sauce. Oh my goodness. Dead. Don't kill me. So
you eat healthy.
Right. Yeah. So I eat healthy. I feel like, if you're suffering from, correct me if I'm wrong, Onika, but if you're suffering from not really a mental illness, but if you're just feeling down, eating takes a big toll on how you actually feel.
It's
correct?
True. It's true. Honestly, when I'm in a depression, I barely eat at all, and I could feel it. Like you just feel sick to your stomach. And I have been eating much more healthy than I normally would. That's thanks to my dietitian. So like I did have like a zucchini noodle with some shrimp this week. It was delicious. Like
sounds good.
I had a steak and mushroom last night, but then I just was craving carbs, so I did what I did. I'm not saying sorry about it anyways. So yeah, but what you eat, it does matter, and that's why I make it a point to see a dietitian along with my team members. But you know what, Michael, this has been awesome. This has been really awesome.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much
for being on the podcast.
Not a problem.
I want to say to your family member, it's not easy. Oh, Lord, but it is not easy. But the only way out sometimes is through.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. I'm going to get it tattooed on my arm. The only way out is through.
So what can people like me do to help those who are
honestly being there for them when they're at their lowest point or at their quote unquote craziest? If they're ever hospitalized, visiting them, staying in touch with them and treating them, making sure you treat them like them and not like the illness. That's very, very important. Let them know the little victories that they have, things that you and I or JR would do on a daily basis right now, things that I couldn't do, like things that you would do, like making a meal or taking a shower or going outside for a 15-minute walk. Like celebrate these things with them, because it is more challenging than you can even imagine sometimes, with the state that people get into when it comes to their mental health conditions. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. Just be there and keep putting out that positive energy and letting them know that you care and you want to be there and help them along with their journey. So with that said, that has been the dish of the day. JR, let them know how they could reach us and Michael, if they want to say hello to Michael, absolutely. And give him words of encouragement, where they can reach us.
So first, Michael, thank you so much for being here.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for having me. And again, I love what you guys are doing with the podcast, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much.
We appreciate the feedback. Thank you so much. But if you want to reach out to any of us, you can reach us at dysh, dysh at daintydysh.com. That's daintydysh.com. You can check us out on our website, daintydysh.com. You can check Onika out on, more things that she's writing, some more material. I think your Black and
Crazy is
series
coming
out.
out.
It should be out.
Is it out? I think it's out. Yeah, it's out.
It's out, so you should check that out. We've got another one of those coming. Well, you've got another one of those coming.
Yes.
I'm taking credit for your stuff now.
Yes, soon. So read it, Black and quote unquote crazy.
You can check me out on Instagram, Best of JR. You can check out Onika on Instagram, Best of Onika. Michael, anybody you want to shout out? Anything you want to say?
I want to give a shout out to all the homies. I want to give a shout out to my family. You know, I want to give a shout out to Black folks just doing them. And I want to give a shout out to just people who may be suffering from mental illnesses, to know that, look, you're not alone. And there's help out there. Get the help, seek the help. And for those people who aren't mentally ill, talk to your friends, talk to your family, have good friends around you. Make sure that you're not keeping things bottled inside, because that doesn't help anybody, not even yourself, right? So do that. And if you want to reach me, you could get at me on Instagram. My Instagram is Michael Boateng, just my full name, MichaelBoateng. It's one word. Okay, and then send me a DM. I'll send you the rest of the info. All right.
So that's if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe.
Give us a 5. We deserve a 5.
And subscribe. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up, 5 stars. If you're listening to us on another platform, YouTube, like, subscribe. Please give us some feedback. We truly appreciate it. Want to thank you for listening this week. That's it for me.
Perfect. All right, y'all. Again, appreciate it.
Yes, and as I said, that has been the dish of the day. Y'all have yourselves a very, very, very happy holiday.